once again, Sphere of Influence. I'm Lawrence King, coach within our group of the Alliance. Today's topic today is reaching out to your sphere of investors, people that you know that are looking to invest in real estate, uh, possibly flips, buy and holds, multi units, you name it. This is what we're going to cover today, and how to build out a list of potential investors and start looking for properties and knowing what those investors are looking for, which is called a buy box, right? So you reach out to your sphere or you try to find investors either via online, you're talking to people at coffee shops, hey, hey, I'm an investor, or I invest in flips, or I invest in, I buy commercial property, or I buy multi units. If you ever run across anything, please let me know, right? That's a great opportunity for you to get that contact information of that person and send them potential deals in that area. Now, the buy box is going to be very important for you to make sure you get from that particular investor. Find out what their needs are. Find out what areas that they're looking to invest in. They may not be in the state that you're in. A lot of investors don't invest in certain states. They kind of stay away from if they're buy and hold, they try to stay away from properties that are not landlord friendly. So that's the biggest thing that you want to make sure of. Hey, Mandy. Um, so basically, what we're covering today, Mandy, I don't know why it's only, give me 1 second here. I'm not sure why it's doing that. It's weird. It's doing this thing for me. Okay, anyways, so to finish off, and sorry to cut this short, but Mandy, we're covering real estate investors and how to reach out to them and why you should reach out to them and some of the things that you need to know in order to reach out to those real estate investors and know pretty much what they're looking for in the market, right? And it can be potentially outside of the market of their current market that you're in. It could be in another state, right? Knowing what investors' buy box is very important. Knowing what their budget is, what their max is, and what they're looking for as far as I would say meat on the bone is what they call it. How much profit they're going to make after they either flip that property or they purchase the property, hold it for X amount of years. They want to know that those details, and that's what's going to be important for you to know how to reach out to these certain investors and find out what their buy box is, what the criteria is, what areas they invest in. They may invest in your area. They may invest outside of that area. You may know realtors in other states that, hey, I have a buyer, investor that's looking in Milwaukee. I have a buyer that's an investor looking in Kentucky, right? The thing is, these are all becoming part of your sphere, these real estate investors, because later on down the line, you may have something in an area that they're not familiar with that you can now educate them on and say, hey, John, just want to let you know I found this property in Dallas, Texas. I know it's not in your buy box area or the areas you're looking in. However, I'm looking at the numbers and that meat on the bone is making sense. Do you want to take a look at it? Right now, let's say you're not in your particular area, right? You're looking at other states or other places to find uh, investment properties, right? Let's say flips or investment properties to buy and hold, right? Do you have a place right now where you're looking right now to do that, right? Do you know where to go to search for potential homes or potential multi-units to look for your investors? Do you have those sites set up? Do you know what they're looking for, right? Man, you don't have any clue where to go, right? I think you might be muted. Yeah, you are muted. Um, so in that situation, if you don't have that information, there are multiple websites for you to go to. I use a couple. I'm just going to share with you really quick. I'm not going to get into full details on it. Just start looking and searching for investor-friendly sites to look for properties that may be distressed, properties that may have seller financing, which is a great look for investors that looking to buy and hold. They love seller financing because pretty much they only have to put down kind of a big chunk of a down payment. They don't have to buy the house outright. They can then go and rent it or fix it up and rent it out. and have that tenant paying the seller back, right? The seller's going to give you a window of time that you have to pay it back. However, it's a benefit for the investor because they're not putting all this cash up front. They're only putting down a little bit, or they're not buying the whole thing right out the bat, and they can go in there, fix it up, rent it out, and do the BRRRR method. If you're not familiar with the BRRRR method, you can Google it. It's BRRR: buy, renovate, uh, rent, refi, repeat. Okay, so that's something that you'll learn in that investor space, and especially with if you're starting to look at properties outside of your normal farm area, you want to start getting familiar with those different acronyms and different words like ARV, after repair value. You should know it as a real estate agent already, but if you don't, get yourself familiar with it. Go to some of these sites, go to some of these meetups in your local area for investors. You can search. What is the site called, Mandy? The site where they have Eventbrite. You can search Eventbrite for investor meetups. They probably have a ton of them around you, right? So that's a good way to look at it. Let me see if I can share my screen here. Give me 1 second. Bam. Okay, there we go. So this is one that I've used in the past. I haven't used it really much anymore because I have my own calculators and stuff like that. But if you don't know how to analyze a deal or how to look for your investor gives you a buy box. Hey, I have $150,000. I'm looking to buy a property all cash, and I need to make sure it has an ARV of let's say 300,000. Right? That's going to be a hard range probably to find a property. You have to really go and search. But some investors that are savvy, they're looking in certain areas that they want to invest in, and they know the market. They say I got 150 cash, I can close in 10 days. No appraisal, no loan contingency, obviously because they're all cash. Those are the type of deals that are around the area, or may not be around your area, but around other areas throughout the United States or even outside of the United States that you can start looking for, right? I used to use Bigger Pockets, and mainly this was a good website to get me started to understand, like, hey, how do I look at a deal? How do I analyze and look at what's the ROI, right? Return on investment. Some people don't know that information, or that those acronyms, or that lingo. So you want to start to get yourself familiarized with it, right? CapEx, or better known as capital expenditures. Some people don't know what that means, right? When you look at a property and like, hey, what's the CapEx on it, right? CapEx is more of your, what is going to be the major costs that's going to cost you either right now or over a period of time that's in that property, right? Roof, foundation, plumbing, electrical, those are CapEx, right? Those things are very important to look at. AC condensers, or when your AC or your furnace, those are CapEx. Those are things that may go out immediately or may go out over in the next 5 years. You want to be able to tell your investor, hey, I've seen this property, but it needs a new roof, has a foundation crack, and it needs new AC and furnace, right? Now you can get quotes before you call your investors to say, hey, how big is that property? It's, let's say 3 bedrooms, 2 baths, right? You can call an AC company and say, hey, if I have a 3 bedroom, 2 bath at 1,200 square feet, what size unit will I need for AC and furnace, right? And they'll say, hey, you need let's say a 5 ton, whatever, right? How much would that cost me? It cost you $8,000. Okay, perfect. Thanks for that quote. Now you can use that and put that in your capital expenditure to say, okay, it's going to be $8,000 to replace that AC unit right now. Or, hey, I got a brand new AC unit. I know I called that company that says $8,000. Now that number may change over a 5-year period. However, you know exactly where you're at on cost wise, how much you got a brand new AC unit in right now, or if it needs to be replaced. That's CapEx. Okay. You'll learn that on this Bigger Pocket site as well. They have different calculators right here that you can use. Here's the BRRRR calculator right here. This is a prime example, right? Buy, rehab, rent, refi, repeat. That's the calculator to show you, hey, if I'm going to look at a property, what do I need to, how much is it going to cost me to fix up, right? And what's the ARV on it? If it's going to cost me $50,000 to fix up. I only got $150,000 to purchase it. How much is it going to cost me? How much is it going to be worth afterwards? Go ahead, Mandy. Sorry.
Can you sign up for free with this account
Yeah.
or
So
okay.
yep, this is a free account on my end. I used to pay for it back in the day, but like I said, after a while, you're going to get used to like getting your own calculators and running off of Excel spreadsheets and stuff like that. But yeah, this is a free account. They sold this company, Bigger Pockets, sold not too long ago or a couple years back. So it's like a corporation that owns it now, but and it's a little bit different. They're really like pushing, like they're selling a lot of products on here to you.
Hmm.
But I mainly was coming here for this. Like even you have an Airbnb calculator, all that stuff, wholesaling, rental properties, which is great. This is another site too. Like for me, for instance, I work with investors. I am an investor myself. I want to know how much a property is going to rent for before I purchase it, right? And they have something it's called a 1% rule, right? That's a quick and dirty way to look at a property and know if it's worth the money you're going to spend on it at the purchase price. 1% of the purchase price, I have to make it rent, right? That's just quick and dirty. That's without me even looking in the property, looking at capex, doing the taxes and all that other stuff. That's just right away, quick and dirty. 1%. I got to at least make 1% on the purchase price and rent, right? I got to know that right off the bat, and that's some fast for anybody to know in the real estate space. You want to know that before you even look at a property or waste your time, right? So if, for instance, if you got an investor says he has 150,000 to invest and the property is let's say he spends let's say he spends 100,000, right? And the property is worth let's say 160 after the ARV, right? And but it's only around let's say $20,000 to repair. That's $120,000 that person's in, a little bit more with closing costs and all that stuff, but 125, $126,000 he's in on the property. He or she is in on the property for investment. Now I got to make 1% of the rent for that purchase price, right?
Hmm.
I bought it for 100,000. I'm in it 26,000, right? 126,000. 1% of 126,000 is how much, Mandy?
I'm not a genius in math. 1,200.
Was that?
1,200,
Yeah,
right?
sorry, I'm really battling here. So if I'm in it for 126, right?
Uh-huh.
And this is just quick math. And let's say I make that 1260, but then I want to make a profit though, right?
Hmm.
And then I also want to have capital expenditures set to the side. So I
Hmm.
got to make more than 1,260. So I'm going to put on another 5% for capex, depending on how much stuff is needs to be done in the property, right? 5% on top of that, and then I got 5% for property taxes. Or depending on where it's at with property taxes, and then vacancy rate. You want to know all that stuff, right? So get yourself familiarized with all that stuff and start doing the math and adding those numbers up, then you'll be able to say, hey, does that make sense? But right off the bat, Mandy, I bought a property for 100,000. I know I'm buying it at 100,000. At least got to make $1,000 off of it right now.
Hmm.
Right? No matter if I put 26,000 into it, 26,000, I would hope, and actually I would make sure that I'm making more than 1260 in
Hmm.
order to make it make sense, right? I don't want to put $100,000 cash plus another $26,000 cash up in the property that I'm only breaking even.
Yeah.
Investors don't want to see that. They want to see they're going to make some money. Another rule of thumb with investing is some people say, hey, as long as you got all the bills, once you do the Bird method, as long as you're making $100 profit after everything is paid off and you have your savings set to the side for capex and
Hmm.
you got your property taxes, all that stuff saved to the side, as long as you're making $100 profit, it's a win. Not for me, but some people say that that's a win,
Hmm.
right? A lot of your investors, that's what you want to find out. Is that a win for them? It's $100 a month, a win. Everything's paid off. Is that a win? Because you got to look at it. Once you actually put your $126,000 into a property, you want to make a little bit of profit, but at the same time, if you're looking to do the Burr method, right? You're gonna buy, rehab it. So you're gonna buy it for 100,000. You're gonna rehab it with 26,000. You're gonna rent it for over 1260, hopefully, right? Now you got a refi. Now that refi is gonna come with a mortgage, right? Because you're gonna refi, you can get 65 to I'll say 75% of the ARV back of your cash, right?
Mm-hmm.
You can do a cash out refi if you wanted to. But if you do that cash out refi, that's going to cost you on a mortgage now. So now your numbers are going to be all screwed up because now you have a mortgage on this property now. So
Wow.
that's why I said you really got to make sure your window of profit is there or the meat on the bone, like we discussed, right?
Yeah.
I don't want to get too much into that. That's more of, hey, go to Bigger Pockets, go to some of these seminars, go to Eventbrite, search investor meetups. You can find all this stuff. Another site that I use is an investor lift. Okay. This is where you can find a lot of your deals. Like right here, I'm searching in West Allis. I know this area. I'm looking for it. If you see property, you can set a budget like, hey, I want to do up to 131,000, or let's say I know for this area it's probably around this right here. I'm gonna see more properties. Actually, let me see. Let's see if we can get some more. They get kind of expensive during summer. But anyways, so these deals, look at this. Let's look at this one. This is a commercial deal. Okay. I like to see this. Your investors like to see this. They want to see, look at how much down.
Mm-hmm.
So now you're literally renting from the seller directly. The seller is acting as the bank. Right now, you give them 23,000. Basically, you purchase the property for 198,000. We want to look at the ARV on this, right? So they should give us some more information. Look at this cool guy, Brandon Wall. I'm not sure who he is, but look, you want to see right here that basically this is assignment price, 198. Buyer, look at that. Buyer covers all closing costs. So you want to calculate that in. So that 23,000 that's in there, you want to calculate that for your numbers. Look at 175,000 at 5% interest rate, amortized over 22 years. So he's giving a 22-year loan right now, seller financing on 175,000. He's not a bank. He's a seller that owns the property. He's acting as the bank. So
Yeah.
you get a better interest rate than most people are getting right now at 5%.
Yep.
Look, he's telling you right here, does not include taxes and insurance, but he's telling you it's $1,094.22, right? So what I would do in this situation, if I have an investment property like this that is seller financing, my numbers may look a little bit different now, right? Because now I'm going off of based off of seller financing. I'm not putting that much money down, right?
Mm-hmm.
However, I got to look at the building. I got to check all the capital expenditure on it. This looks like it's a little rough, right? This is a commercial building, so this really doesn't work as well as some of the other ones that we have, like regular houses. Let's see, we got 120,000. Let's look at this one. Solid rental section 8 in Milwaukee, right? 120,000, right? So look at this cool guy. Anyways, so currently rented for 1,000, but could be increased in September for 1,400. Basically, he's letting you know is Section 8. Section 8 every year they have a rental increase,
Mm-hmm.
typically every year, right? You just got to apply for it. And we're going up on rent. They'll only go up to a certain percentage. However, you also for Section 8 renters, a lot of people don't like Section 8. I love Section 8.
Mm-hmm.
One, I'm searching for a certain Section 8 that is majority of it's covered by the government, their rent, opposed to the renter covering majority of it. Because my check is coming on time every month.
Yeah.
I'm never really worried about it because that check is coming up every month on time, right? Also, every year your property has to be inspected once a year for
Mm-hmm.
Section 8, right? They got to keep it in a certain condition. X that out. So these are just different ways, different sites you can look at to see what type of deals are out there, like seller financing, stuff like that. And like you can go in another state. Let's say, man, you're in Moreno Valley, right?
Mm-hmm.
Let's look at Moreno Valley. Let's see what they got out here. So this is Moreno Valley. They got this great looking property right here. Three bedroom, two bath, Moreno Valley. Looks like it needs some work, right? Look, it's telling you what the ARV is, right? Price point you purchased is 440,000. Now, that's a $60,000 difference. I'm looking at this property. I know I'm going to probably need more than $60,000 in this property.
Oh,
Definitely going to need more than $60,000 to fix up this property. This is stuff you want to know, but also the stuff that I like to look at is not necessarily how beat up the property is, but where can I force value into the property, or where can my investor force value into the property if they can. Right now, I know the vinyl fencing is perfect. That's money right there, right?
mm,
The landscaping needs to be fixed up, but I can do something with that vinyl. I can keep that vinyl there, put a new cap on the one right up on top here, and probably replace it with another vinyl down here if it makes sense. If I'm flipping it or I'm holding it, it's a difference, right? Here, can I reuse some of this stuff that's in here and just rent it out as a rental? Or if I'm trying to flip it, I'm definitely gutting this inside, right? I'm thinking as an investor when I'm looking at these pictures. This person is obviously someone that likes to collect stuff, order or whatever. But when you're looking at this stuff, look at this for investors, right? Mandy, what do you see in this picture that's not normal or something that you may see as a cap X or capital expenditure?
right there, the AC in the back. Oh, what is that?
That's the AC in the window,
AC,
right?
right?
What does
Yeah.
it tell you about the property?
Oh, it's an older property for sure.
It doesn't have central AC and heating,
Yep.
right? So boom, right there, I'm gonna say, oh, I need a central AC and heat. I may not need it. Maybe I do split units in each room, right? But at least you have options when you see pictures like this to go through, even if you're walking through them live and in person. Look at stuff like this. Look at the flooring. Look at the
Mm,
electrical box. Look at the
yeah.
panel. Do I need to update that panel? Most likely, yes, right? Just depending. You're gonna do your own. You're gonna have your home inspector come out and take a look at these properties, and if it's quick, it's quick. You know, if it's a quick deal. But this is for your investors. When you're going through them, look and think as an investor. Like if you were going to purchase this property, this is going to cost me more than $60,000 to fix up. Look at
Yeah.
the older windows. Look at the AC unit hanging out the window,
Yeah.
right? So that's some of the stuff you just look at. Look, the AC condenser is on top.
Yep.
So they had central AC at one point. What happened?
Probably broke down.
Yeah. That's another thing too. Most investors, myself included, I don't want to see my AC condenser on my roof,
No.
right? I want to see it on the ground.
The patio cover looks newer.
Yes, it's a newer and that stuff. See, you're thinking as an investor, hey, that looks newer. I can salvage that. I gotta get rid of the satellite dishes. It may cause holes or anything like that to the roof, but the shingles look like the roof needs to be replaced anyways, right?
Mm.
So that's how I'm looking at it as an investor, but I like it because it got vinyl fencing right there.
Same
That's a
here.
good point about it. Everything else is pretty much trash. I know it's going to cost me more than 60,000 to fix this house up,
Yeah.
right? Let me see. She's smiling, very happy. Give me 1 second. Property will be delivered vacant. Okay, cool. Best offer by Thursday. This seems like this is a property that may be on the MLS. But in any case, I'm not going to keep going on this one. Just take a look at that. Look at that other side, bigger pockets right here to run
Mhm.
your calculator. Hey, does it make sense to rent this property? Does it make sense to possibly burr it, right? Should I wholesale it? How would it do on Airbnb, right? What's my mortgage payment look like if I fix and flip it? Manny, we were just talking about my offer is going to be different when I fix and flip this because $60,000 is going to cost me more in that property to fix and flip it. It doesn't make sense. So that's where I was talking to you about having meat on the bone. That's not enough. That's nothing on the bone because it's going to cost you more than 60,000, right?
Yeah.
And if you go to bigger pockets, it's going to show you and tell you how much you need to offer on a fix and flip right here. Sorry, fix and
What
flip.
was what was ARV again stand for?
ARV, after repair value.
Oh, after repair value.
Yeah, so after you repair it, how much is it worth? Right? So you'll run the comps. You've been a realtor, you run the comps. And like I said, we're doing this for our investors and what's their buy box, right? Right now, if you're sitting on the sidelines, you don't have a listing, you don't have buyers. Right now, get with some of your investors. They're looking, right? Look at some of these sites I'm showing you. Investor Lift. There's property out there, and there's you can find property in different states too. right? There's property out there. Now, some may not make sense. Like, let's go here. 100,000. Let's see what this is. I'm seeing 100,000. Where in California are you getting a property? Oh, it's a mobile home. Okay, off market mobile home, delivered
That's
vacant. This may be one of your investors' buy box. That may be their niche is invest in mobile parks, right? Not mine, but maybe it's one of your investors.
so is there a way of, let's say you find a couple properties now, and you want to show them to your investors. Is there a way to put them all on like a website basically with one click and then they can access them all?
So investors, yeah. So one, to answer that question, you can put them on hyperlinks, right? And say,
Okay.
hey, investor, I'm sending you over a list of properties I found that makes sense for you. I think makes sense for you. However, you want to make sure you have your buyer's brokerage agreement signed with them. Okay.
Okay.
Now, if that investor, and this is about building rapport with your investor, making sure they're in your sphere. They know who you are. They remember you. You constantly send them deals. You remind them, hey, I'm still here. So in case that investor wants to flip one of these properties or sell one of those properties, guess who he's calling? He's
Me.
calling you as a realtor. You brought the
Mm-hmm.
deal to him. He's going to bring it back to you, hopefully, as long as you keep building that rapport,
Mm-hmm.
right? And I know I'm probably skipping over a ton of stuff, that information that I could probably blur out all day long. This is more kind of just an overview of how to look for stuff for your investors that's out there right now. This is why we're discussing this today, to go over different sites to go to think creative, go outside of the box, go to these investor meetups. Some
Yeah.
investors at these meetups may be saying, hey, I'm trying to offload 50 houses. Anybody know anyone interested? Right? Mandy, you're there. You're a real estate agent. Hey, we got a team of 58, over 50 agents. We can list all these properties all at once. Oh no, I'm trying to sell them in a portfolio. Well, if that doesn't work out, here's my information, right? That investor most likely is looking for something else to invest in. That's why he's
Mm-hmm.
selling at those 50 units or 50 houses, right? So you can go and sign up for a free account at Investor Lift and look at all these different properties on there. Let's see this one real quick. This is a probate. Look, the ARV is 605, 430 is 605. That's not a bad gap right there, right? If you can get it for 430, depends on how much work needs to be done on this property though, too. Let's see. Let's just go through this. Yeah, this needs some work. So I'm looking at roofs. I'm looking at foundation. I'm looking at look, AC. I'm looking at the vents, haven't been cleaned probably in a long time.
Yeah.
Look, I'm going back. You see this long hairline fracture in the drywall on the ceiling? Maybe
Mm-hmm.
moisture, may just be some settling. Maybe, I got to think about those things for my investor when he goes to do the inspection, right?
Oof.
Look at these cracks. Look at the floors.
Mm-hmm.
So I already know off the bat, I'm doing new painting, floor to ceiling, new floors, 100% new front door, or restaining, repurposing the front door, depending on what I'm doing. If I'm going to keep it, I'm going to buy and hold. I'm probably going to repurpose it because it's just a renter going inside there. I'm not going to make it super over the top nice because they're probably going to beat it up anyways. If I'm flipping it, I'm changing the door, right? And I'm just thinking as how my investors may think when they look at this property. We have a ton of people in our group in EXP that are investors. They buy and flip property, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm not saying I'm a genius at it or know everything about it. However, I've been in space for a little bit of time now. I know what to look for in certain areas. So that's investor lift, right?
Okay.
That is a good site. Uh, this one right here. This is lead flow. Now, this is a little bit more costly for you, but you can get more details, especially if you need leads right now, right? Sorry about this. Stupid. Especially if you need leads right now. So let's say we want to look in 90230. Let's see if any deals are in that area. Okay, here we go. Some popped up. So this is going to give me a little bit more information, right? It's going to tell me what the retail price is on this property. Look, 1.839, right? There's no wholesale deal on this one, right? It's a rent. It rents between 43.60 to 53.30, right? So LTV, loan to value, 38%. So what I'm looking at is high equity. You got a lot of equity in this property. Now, this is a perfect door knock or postcard to this person to say, hey, have you ever thought about a HELOC? Right?
Mm-hmm.
So if you're in the mortgage side in real estate, this is why you want to be uh, versatile in real estate, not just offer selling and buying services. You want to be able to offer other things outside of that, right? Be more of a resource. Now, hey, Mr. Seller at 10954, have you ever thought about a HELOC? No, what is that? Send them a quick video on what a HELOC is, right? Explain it to them. Have you ever thought about an equity loan? Send them a quick video on that, right? Or have you ever thought about selling? You have a ton of equity in your property. Have you ever thought about selling? Right? So these are things I'm looking at on lead flow, right? Look at this one. Long-term owner, high equity.
Mm-hmm.
Perfect. That's a mortgage play right there. Or possible sale. Free and clear. They own this property outright.
So
Okay?
it's paid off already.
Free and clear. It's paid off. This is detailed information that oh God, like you can't pay for this. There's another site called PropStream. I think gives you some of this information. I don't think they give you all of this,
Mm.
right? Look, delinquent. Look at this one. Let's look at this one. This person's delinquent. Right here. Give me 1 second here. So look, length of ownership 5 years. It's 2004, right? So that's 2019. They got a decent interest rate, hopefully. You can look that up too and find that information. Look, property taxes annual. Last sale, look, 2019. I was dead on April,
Mm.
right? So this is something I would look at because now I know they're delinquent or have been delinquent on the property. Noted in the past 36 months,
Oof.
right? Foreclosure information. There was nothing on there about foreclosure, but they've been delinquent in the last 36 months and they own it free and clear. I don't know how they're delinquent tax activity. So they're
Okay.
not paying their taxes right away, which some people wait anyways. They don't pay their taxes like right when they're due. Um, but it gives you the owner information, how long they've been in the property. Normally, people are looking to sell after they purchase a property 5 to 8 years in between that time. I think it's more like 6, but 5, I'll start hitting them up and say, hey, you ever thought about selling your property or
Mm-hmm.
doing, equity loan on your property since it's free and clear, right? You need to pay off that tax early or whatever. You got some money from your equity loan or your HELOC or whatever, right there. Maybe you want to get do a cash out refi. Yeah, it's a crappy interest rates right now, but you know, you get that cash up front,
Mm-hmm.
what 70 to 80% of his ARV, right? He can take out. That's a good play right there. He's gonna have a mortgage now, maybe get a roommate, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, anyways, that's a site you can use and utilize in any area that your investors are looking in. There's a so, and then once you start getting used to it and doing it a little bit more, you can get like free calculators like this to analyze like multi units, like to make sure your numbers, like the actual numbers, make sense for if you're looking at multi-unit properties, right? You'll get this and start putting in how many units are in the property, how many bedroom counts, all that good stuff. What's the current rent? What's the market rent? Where it should be, and it'll calculate all that for you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I just went over a ton of stuff. Mainly, the reason why I went over that is to say, hey, reach out, go to events.
Yes.
Any investors reach out, go to events in your local area, maybe go outside of your local area, right? Maybe the events are not that close, but
Mm-hmm.
build up your sphere with investors. It's perfect time and lock them in on a certain area. Hey, I work Moreno Valley, or hey, I work Culver City. This is my area. I focus in on as much. If I find anything, are you willing to sign a buyer's brokerage agreement in this area?
Hmm.
Right? So just another idea to think about as far as reaching out to your sphere. This was a sphere of influence for real estate investors and how to put them in your pipeline and get some more deals done, especially if you're sitting on the sideline right now. Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Any questions on that, Manny? You good?
That was good. I like that. I mean, 'cause the funny thing is, Marcus and I were just talking about that stuff this morning.
Yeah,
So,
so you're gonna get more like I'm really looking in a certain area right now that I'm focusing on out of state. And I'm looking, I always get emails from one of my realtors out there on properties every single day. He's sending me properties and I'm running the numbers. I'm looking at the numbers, they don't make sense, right?
mhm,
At least for me. And it's telling me what I would need to offer on them. I know that they probably won't accept it. However, if it's a good one, I'll offer them what they're asking, right?
mhm.
So those are sites I go on. Those are the sites also you can go on for your investors, so you know the difference of that meat on the bone that they're looking for. Or they say, hey, I need to get at least 13% or 10% back on my deal, which is hard to find in California. Um, those are the sites you can go to.
Yeah.
All right. I'm
Okay.
Lawrence King, Sphere of Influence Coach here with the Alliance Group, here every Thursday, 11 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. Talk to you
Thank
guys soon.